Welcome, everybody, to A Certain Point Askew, the only Star Wars podcast to be put on the Kathleen Kennedy cease and desist list, along with Solo 2 and a standalone Boba Fett series. I'm your host, Angry Ginger, sitting inside Wookiee Poo Studios. I'm not alone. Please allow me to introduce your favorite wretched scum, scoundrels, and smugglers. My neighbor Cole from Corellia.
I've been going by call sign inmate 34667.
Oh,
for this entire episode. That's what
I feel like
me.
Someone already has that number.
You could address me as such.
I don't remember. Was there a 3 in there? Okay.
I've got the Bill Burr look going. You haven't even fucking complimented me on it.
You really do.
I got the.
You just need my color and you'll be perfect.
Yeah, ginger.
Yeah.
I am neighbor Cole. Thanks for having me on the show again, Jason. As always, coming from the bowels of Wookiee Poo Studios.
That's right.
We do have a third micer coming in hot from the Skype lines. Matt, a.k.a. Darth Matt.
He can't turn it off.
He can't.
His hotness.
It's like Mustafar hot. That's how hot it is.
Yeah.
We got our third micer, Matt. How you doing, Matt?
Hey, Mando, take off your goddamn helmet. Sorry, I can't do a good Bill Burr. That's the best I could do.
Is that what that was? Okay.
You'll get one of those every week, listeners. Just a bonus for you, a little gift from us to you.
Yep. It's nothing but dad jokes.
By the way, you can find our website from acertainpointaskew.com. Find us on Twitter at FACPApod, and FACPApod@gmail.com is the email.
That's right. You can also find the show over at monkeypoostudios.com, along with the a plethora of other podcasts that we are all involved with one way or another. We got a bunch of shit on this show today, so I guess we're just going to go straight down the list. We've got a question of the week. We've got a whole bunch of news. We're going to do the breakdown of Chapter 15, Episode 16, this is. The Believer. We've got a few mall bag. What do we call those? You've been mall bagged.
You've been mall bagged.
Yeah. Listen, this is the last week y'all can get ready to do the Dark Saber. So this is your last week to listen, to sign up, to do all of the things we're going to tell you how to get the points for, because we're giving that Dark Saber away next week. I'm excited for that.
Fuck yeah. We'll have Dave on, the Saber Maker, to join us for the final episode of the season. And we'll be picking a random number, Dave will, and we'll see who the lucky winner is.
Now the spreadsheet, of course, it's already digital. I was going to say, is it numbered, or do you have to be like, hold on a minute, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8?
Yeah, no, it's got line numbers, it's got row numbers. So I'm just going to have him pick, and I just did a kind of a random. Well, I'm going to do it at the end. I'm letting everybody get all their entries in, but I'm just going to randomly assign each person to the different entries. So, like, if you have 10 entries, you might be number 4, number 52, number 60. You know what I mean? So,
okay.
So we'll see how it goes. So it's going to be totally random who ends up getting it. But obviously, the more entries you got, the better chance you have. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Mike Laybourne. He's got a lot of entries.
Matt's going to shuffle those numbers better than an Uno deck.
Yeah. A sabak.
Sabak.
Okay, let's get into the news. This week, Disney had their investors conference call, and I was like, you know what, I'm not going to watch this. It's going to be like 4 hours, 5 hours long, and then I caught myself all day long waiting until 4:30 for this thing to start. So I tune in and I'm watching it, and of course the Disney stuff is happening just as I'm like ready to get out of work. So I saw the Disney stuff, or I'm sorry, the Lucasfilm stuff, and then I was like, well, Marvel's coming up soon. So I've got my phone on my dashboard and I'm driving down the highway. Do not remember that drive home at all. Watching my phone, watching all these drops, but so much stuff for Star Wars. They announced 10 new shows in total? Oh, between the shows and the films.
Yeah, so I had to take my kid to the dentist. So you take them and they come out and get them. You just sit in your car. So I'm sitting there and I'm streaming it, and a lot of it's financial speak and how they're doing with the service and all these different things. And I'm like, kind of get on with it. And at one point they mentioned the thing, we have 10 new series coming over the next few years. And I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? And then it was like, okay, now you're going to sit here for an hour and a half and we're not going to tell you what they are for a while. And then finally Kathleen Kennedy comes on and just unloads. I mean, it was overwhelming how much stuff she was sharing.
Maybe that's why she just didn't have the energy. Maybe she was overwhelmed too, because like watching her was like watching paint dry. Like if a wall could speak while it was drying. And now we have the Acolyte coming, and it's going to be, and I'm like, good Lord, woman, this isn't
the dress rehearsal. This isn't the dry run.
Bring some energy. Yeah, bring some energy. She's like,
someone bring her a Starbucks.
She's like Michael from The Office when she's got the story that everybody wants to hear. So she's like captivating the audience, just drawing it out for as long as possible.
But yeah, they dropped a whole bunch of stuff. So we've got a list here. Let's just get through it. Not in any order that she did them in, but the first on the list is The Bad Batch. Yeah. I was not very excited for this, but after seeing the trailer, it looks like action-packed.
Same. Yep, I felt the same way. It looks beautiful. And I still really want to get through all the Clone Wars stuff before it comes out, because I think it's due to come out sometime in the spring. They didn't really give a definitive date.
Right.
And then, as I mentioned to you, I'm sitting there watching. I was like, is that Fennec Shand? It looks like Fennec Shand.
That was all of Twitter. Is that Fennec? Did I see Fennec?
I mean, it's the same helmet. It's got to be.
Yeah, it's got to be. It does. Although they never said that. They didn't reinforce it. They didn't really give you any idea of, other than it takes place, a couple years after the Clone Wars. And they're the Bad Batch was the title of one of the episodes, I believe. They're the group. They're the Clone Force 99. I
think it's supposed to be right after Revenge of the Sith, isn't it? Is it not?
Okay. So the Clone Wars ends at Revenge of the Sith, and then this... Yeah, you're right. You're right.
They show that shot of the Emperor saying, announcing the new Galactic Empire or whatever, and that's
Correct.
in part... So I'm assuming that's early in the season of this, and so I think it's going to be kind of after that. That's my assumption.
It is like, I feel you, Cole, because you've complained about like the timeline and where to put these things, and there's so much now, and now they're filling in the gaps of the trilogies. So you're like, where are we? What year are we? How many years after? It's mind-boggling.
I haven't followed this as closely as you guys have. I've I'm going to let you guys spoil it for me on the air.
Okay.
I haven't really looked up a whole lot of this.
So you can be the listener. You just be
I'm going to be the audience.
Holy shit!
Yeah, you guys can audience me on this one. I was talking to you a little bit about this, but the one thing I hope that they don't do is... At least this is for me personally. They fucking ruined Terminator with all the time travel bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they did Terminator, and then they did all the time travel stuff, and then you didn't know which timeline continuity, whatever the fuck that word is. You didn't know where you were at. You didn't know exactly where you were at. And if they do that, or they make this mass confusing, I just hope they don't mess with timelines. They did it with X-Men too, where they you don't know who's dead and who's alive, or if you go into the future and stuff like that.
Well, because they started the series over, then they decided to bring the two series together in the X-Men. They had Days of Future Past, and then I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But that made sense to me.
Okay, fine. But for me, I'm just hoping that just kind of ruins it for me when they bounce all over the place, and I've got to try to do a flow chart to figure out where I'm at. That just messes.
It's
with me.
trying to watch the first 3 seasons of Game of Thrones and trying to find out who's related to who and why. I needed a family tree the size of a coffee table to be like, oh, this person belongs to this person in this kingdom. I don't know about anybody else. I struggled with that. I'm like, well, how do these fucking people all know each other? Or are they all related to each other?
I've never seen Game of Thrones.
Oh, really?
Oh, man.
No. But what I was going to say to you, Cole, is that from what Star Wars has always done, they don't usually have some sort of parallel timelines going on. It's just a matter of keeping track of how everything relates to all the stuff you've seen before. But with this, I mean, the closest thing they came to that or any sort of time travel thing is the World Between Worlds, which you have not got to yet, which is in Rebels, and that is a mind-blowing fucking episode.
Yeah.
And it introduces elements that would change everything, and I think it's kind of good that they just showed that, and they're like, and that's it. So yeah, you'll get there and see that, and you'll be like, what? But everything else from everything I've read or seen or whatever is there is one timeline. You just have to figure out where they are in it for a particular show.
Correct.
Got it. All right. Well.
So Bad Batch, I think that's probably the next one that comes out, and then down the list,
they said spring.
I think everything looks to be coming 2022, 2023. Even though they were name dropping all this stuff, I thought at one time they had said that Ahsoka and the Rangers of the New Republic were coming out Christmas of 2021. But I think that's just Mando season 3.
Yeah, now it's Mando season 3. And if Mando season 3 is coming out then, it kind of makes you think that there's nothing that's going to come before that. And we're just going to have to wait until 2022. But I think you're right. I think 2022 is going to have a ton of stuff, as is 23.
Yep. Yeah. They're prepping to have their big years. So we just have to have, other than the Bad Batch, I don't know how many episodes it is. And then we'll go into Mando's, which I'm guessing once they start rolling, it's like one's going to go right into the other almost. Maybe there'll be a month between, but with all of this stuff starting to drop, I think we've got to. I mean, we know we have 6 episodes of Kenobi. There's 12 episodes of Andor. I don't know when these the Rangers and Ahsoka is coming out. If they come out in the same year, it sounds like Lando might be a bit off yet. Like that one's probably the furthest out.
Yeah, I think it's still in development. I don't think they've gotten that far yet. I mean, they didn't even say who's going to be in it. You'd assume it's Donald Glover, but then
right. They just have the writer, which I didn't put his name down. But yeah, so we've got Mando season 3 starting Christmas of 2021. They did show a little bit of the teaser. Most of the footage looked like it was from Rogue One, but there was some art, and then they had like an interview
for Andor.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he was kind of telling you how he was excited to be put in the show. And at one point they're talking like the set designers and everything. And one of them's like, we creating all this stuff. He says there's 12 scripts for 12 episodes. So we're like, there's 12 episodes. So that's showing an expansion. So I don't know if it was because this is a standalone, so they made the show a little bit bigger, or if Disney's like, you know what, we were having luck with this stuff, and maybe Mando will expand as well. We don't know yet. Right now we're stuck at 8 and 8.
And he said 200 named characters, 6,000 crowd people. And I'm just thinking, how are they doing this with COVID? But the sets that he was showing off behind him and some of the visuals they showed, they were huge sets. It looked like a full-on, like you said, movie set.
Yeah, I don't know how they're doing this with inside the volume. I'm guessing it's got to be CGI.
I would imagine it's just a combination. So they're going to be doing actual real physical sets, and then they're going to have other stuff that they're just going to have to do in the volume.
Actually seeing the art and like the storyboards and stuff put up, you didn't see any of that, did you?
No.
It actually excites me for this show, like seeing everything kind of come to life, even though it was just art and like they kind of made the images pop a little bit on some of those, but it was enough to be like, oh, this is going to be really good. And I like the way that Kathleen Kennedy reinforced the idea that Tony Gilroy was the creator of the Bourne Identity franchise. He's good at this spy stuff. That's what he does. And here he is and he wrote Rogue One. So all in all, like I'm thinking this is Did he write Rogue One? He wrote the third act. Yeah, he came in and he rewrote the third act and then directed that as well.
The best act of the movie. Yeah.
Out of all that stuff coming up, what are you guys most excited for?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I would say either Ahsoka or I'm kind of interested in the Acolyte, only because that's a time we're not familiar with at all. Yeah. And with the logo the way it is, it very much looks like it's going to be like a Sith story, because we're coming in at the end of the High Republic, right? Mm-hmm. It was when all the Jedis flourished and there's peace throughout the galaxy, and then it's when the dark side kind of shows itself and starts to take over. It's what breaks down the Republic.
Yeah, shit's starting to brew, so it's the beginning of that. But I like the fact that it's a different timeline. It's a different time era, which we haven't really seen yet. And so, that's the Leslie Headland series, and she described it as a mystery thriller type series, which I thought was interesting. So
I like that they're going with like the Marvel route, where they're taking different genres and putting them into the type of way they tell a story. Yeah, like Cass Andor's like a spy thriller series. This is mystery thriller. So yeah, I like the way that they're sort of giving it a little genre bend.
Yeah, and then they talked about Kenobi a bit, and of course they mentioned officially that Hayden's going to be back. You wonder what that means. Is it going to be flashbacks? I mean, she says specifically that it's the rematch of the century. Yeah. So it's like, are they going to have like an actual, interaction and altercation in this particular? Because it's supposed to be about 10 years after Sith, so about 9 years before A New Hope. So Luke will be about 10 years old. So you assume there's going to be a Luke character in there somewhere. And we talked about how they were casting potentially
your kids.
For those kids. Yeah, my kids, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be the battle's going to be a compromise between the Revenge of the Sith battle and what happened in A New Hope. Like, those are such drastically different battles.
They're slowly getting a little bit slower. So so it's like they're not quite as crisp as
you can expect about half speed from the lava battle.
They gotta take a couple of breathers, like the Daredevil hallway fight where he leans against the wall,
and then it's basically just
throws himself back into it.
A fencing scene with some lightsabers for the New Hope. It's like, okay, that was what happened to you guys? I know you guys are old.
Yeah, the kid's like, this isn't fun at all to watch.
Someone needs to force jump and flip and do something.
Well, and Kenobi's Deborah Chow, so I'm excited about that because she did a really great job in season 1. She did a couple episodes of Mandalorian, so I'm excited for that. I'm real excited for Andor. I think that's going to be really cool. I think going in, that was probably the one I was the most excited about. Mm-hmm. Like you said, with what we saw this season with Ahsoka, that'll be cool because you would assume they're going to do the search for Ezra again, not to give too much away to Cole. You would assume that was going to come up, and Thrawn, is going to be part of that, because they did say that the Ahsoka series and that Rangers of the New Republic are in the same timeline as Mandalorian.
Right. Yes. And they also said that they were all going to converge into one big, we'll just call it the Avengers movie. Yeah. So is it going to be its own series of like, a 3 or 6 episode climactic whatever. Or my feeling is this is going to be once they lead everything. So it's going to be another battle for like Mandalore or whatever, right? You know, we're going to, because we know that's going on. We know Thrawn's coming in. We know little Grogu's going one way or the other with the Force. So I say 3 years, probably 24, 25. We'll see it.
They'll converge into a holiday special. There'll just be another holiday special.
Excited for that.
Yeah, and the Rangers of the New Republic's interesting because you don't really know what that's going to be.
No,
that sounds cool. That sounds super cool. Like,
yeah.
What's your take on it? Because I know I was looking it up and someone had posted like Rangers, like in the Star Wars world, is Jedi.
I'm thinking law
Padawan,
enforcement, right? Or some sort of like.
Right. So some people are thinking it's the X-Force pilots going around playing cops on the planets. Sounds boring.
That doesn't sound too boring. I mean, if it's like a elite special forces crew of Jedi, that'd be fucking awesome.
If it's like a procedural cop show. And Dave Filoni takes the sunglasses off every episode. I'm going to solve this.
The Who song plays.
Yes,
it's an episode of Law and Order, basically.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Bung bung.
Come on,
they're not even trying with this Star Wars stuff anymore. Officially jumped the shark.
Well, but then the other thing that was announced was the movie, the Rogue Squadron, which you saw that little teaser for. That was pretty cool the way she did that, where she's like, so I decided to put these two things that I love together, and then puts the helmet on and walks toward the X-Wing.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
I didn't give a shit when they announced that movie. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I can't see it. Like, I love the X-Wing battles and stuff. Rogue One, that whole end scene is gorgeous to look at. They're exciting to see on screen, on the big screen, but I'm like, how are we going to relate to these characters or care? Or like, what is bigger than blowing up 2 Death Stars and Starkiller Base? Like, how many times can we do this? And then watching like the way the camera comes up the airfield and she's rollerblading to her car and she starts narrating that her father was a Air Force pilot and went down and he lost his life, and she's always been attracted to. She wanted to always tell a film story. She could never find the script to relate to like that type of story that she's been into, her whole life. And then the other thing she's always been into, Patty Jenkins, director of Wonder Woman.
Yep.
So the other thing she's always been into is Star Wars, and she gets to merge the two. And just like hearing like her passion for it changed me. I was like, oh, you know what? This is going to be a really amazing thing, and she can shoot a hell of a movie.
Well, and you mentioned, I think it was you that said, is this going to be like Star Wars Top Gun? I think it was you that said this, or maybe you retweeted.
It was me and Dave talking back and forth, I think, in the chat room. Yeah.
But that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I mean,
you got a thing against X-Wing pilots, don't you? Because this is the second time.
It doesn't excite me. Yeah,
I've always. That's some of my
favorite. I know
favorite,
you have.
Some of my favorite Star Wars moments is watching the X-Wing. Just the banter between the pilots was always kind of fun for me to listen to.
Like, I'd have been happy if they'd announced like everything had to do with lightsabers. Like, I just want more of that.
They also announced, they shared a little bit about Taika's film, but they didn't really say much. I mean, there's no title to it. We don't know what the era is.
That was such a tease, though, because when she's talking, there's that image that pops up behind her, and it's that like pyramid spaceship, and that all has to do with like it's the new era, or what, the Jedi, the new whatever, and it's they're the pyramids that collect all the people and take them to Tython originally, right?
I think that's
so.
Right.
So is he going even further back than the new what's the new series of books called? It's the High Republic.
The High Republic is back.
300 years.
200.
The Acolyte's taking place at the end of those High Republic stories.
Right.
So he's not going to go further back than that. Like that, it's like I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm so excited about him doing a movie just because I've loved what he's done with other stuff, and also on The Mandalorian with his wrap up and the conclusion last year. But I can't wait to see what he does. But you're right, there's so little details, you just have no idea what's going to happen. But then you also mentioned, and I thought you were getting at this, in that image, there was one image they showed of all the different people of all these different series and who was in the image. Oh
yeah, when it comes to a culmination at the end. The biggest image was Mace Windu.
Yeah.
Front and center, right on the left-hand side. And I was like, oh, that's a little foretelling. And if they do anything, they like to be like, oh, look at here, but we're going to say nothing about it. Like, I think that image for Taika has something to do with what he's doing.
Yep.
That image of Mace Windu, to me, doesn't say... It doesn't ignore the fact that I think they're doing something with it. And even the Rogue Squadron, and there's a write-up of like the synopsis of it, the loose synopsis, and it says the way that it's written, people were breaking it down that it actually takes place after the last or the Rise of Skywalker. Mm-hmm. And they were saying it's because the X-wing doesn't have they have the half engines on each wing, so when the wings are closed, it looks like one full engine instead of the old models. So it says it has to be a newer era of the Star. So they really are kind of taking the movies and the shows and like they're dropping you in like you're gonna be like, where's this take place? You're gonna whiplash, Cole.
Who's the not virgin who caught that? The four engine. That guy's probably just swimming in pussy. Save some pussy for the rest of us, buddy.
Right? Yeah,
because you're out there studying this.
You better clean his robe.
That one, that's a YT model X-wing.
We're gonna need those little hologram little discs so that when Cole watches any of these shows, he can just pop one of us on there and be like, I don't understand when is this happening?
Someone update me on the timeline. Is this before or after?
You need a visit to the library.
That's right.
I struggle. Like, well, I'm watching fucking so much stuff. I'm watching Rebels, and then like I'm watching Mandalorian, and then all this shit. I try to piece it all together in my mind, and I can't remember what I did yesterday. Like, if I say, oh, you remember yesterday when I did this? Oh, that was 3 weeks ago. But yeah, you can say yesterday, and that covers anything that happened previously to me in my life.
That's just called getting old.
Yeah, well, I'm 37.
Welcome to my world.
Just turned 37 yesterday.
Oh, happy birthday. That's right. I saw that. Sorry, happy birthday.
Yeah, no problem. It's all right. No big deal.
Okay, real quick. I guess you can have a guess if you want, but you didn't keep up on this. But what do you think for the Rangers of the New Republic? What do you think that's going to be?
I think it's going to be some sort of elite, like, special forces unit type thing. And then they're like the best of the best. I don't know if it's going to be Jedi or not.
You think it'll be the show with Cara Dune then?
It could be something from like from them, or I mean I feel like it's gonna have a law enforcement skew to it, like Rangers of the Galaxy that go around and like maybe they're revered or feared or they're the best of the best.
Maybe
they're
Chuck Norris out of retirement.
Maybe they're the Jedi that didn't make it, the Padawans that failed out. So then they go into like a special forces.
So I was trying to relate that to Jedis because when the people were saying that, but we're in the timeline right now where Rey's not even born yet. Kylo is. But we're led to believe there's very little Jedi, right? So I can't imagine they're all of a sudden, because if there were Rangers they'd be like, Luke would be having a school, and we're not getting any Luke, we're not getting any of that. So I'm trying to, like, my hope is it would be that way, right? But I think you're right with the more of a police type thing. I just don't know. I'd like Cara Dune doing like special missions. The whole like we're putting a team together thing like we got this week. More of those episodes, I think, would be kind of cool.
They're going to want to be careful, these Rangers of the Republic, because they could get some sort of movement to defund the Rangers of the New Republic, and next thing you know, we got all sorts of new legislation popping up throughout the galaxy.
Well, the thing is, because I that's where my head went first with the Rangers of the New Republic, was going to be like kind of this law enforcement type or special forces or whatever. But then when I saw that the Rogue Squadron movie was coming out, I thought, are they going to do? Is that too close for those two things to kind of, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then when I saw the bit that Dave shared, that was Dave that shared that bit about they used to be called the Rangers. I thought maybe there is more of a force thing going on here with them. It's hard to say. The fact that Favreau and Filoni are the ones creating this.
Yes.
So I don't know. I feel like it's tied back somehow to the force.
I agree, but then we've got Ahsoka coming, and that's tied to the Force too. You've got Mando that's not, and they're all supposed to collide together. So I would venture to guess that they're each going to be their own thing, and then all come together. I don't know. So we have no information. It's fun to speculate. You'll probably hear us speculate a whole shit ton more. The last two on this that we haven't talked about, Lando. No information given. They didn't even say that. Either of them were coming back, Billy D. Williams or Donald Glover, but we've heard rumors that it's both. Like he's telling stories of when I was a young man.
Well, it's like his whatever you want to call it, his blog or whatever he was doing in Solo.
I hope they keep up with that. Right.
That would be kind of funny, and it makes you think what the timeline is too, because I think some people were assuming that meant they were going back pre-Solo movie. But I don't know, and this is because you mentioned to us, I think in the chat, or maybe you did it on Twitter. But where's the Solo project? Where's Solo 2, or et cetera? This could be a way to include him, obviously. So you would think you would see him in this series at some point, but it would have to be in the future because when they met in Solo, they had never really met.
And I was talking to Cole about this. I was like, okay, so does this take place like does he still have the Millennium Falcon? And this is before that end credit scene where Solo walks in on him playing Sabacc. and comes to claim the Millennium Falcon from him. You know, so is this like he still has it? You know, it's not a beat up piece of shit from, you know, the Kessel Run.
Right.
He's got it fixed again, so we're sort of in that timeline. I kind of like the idea of it being old Lando with her name escapes me from Rise of Skywalker, and he says, well, let's go find your family. Let's find out who you are. So they're sort of doing their thing. Maybe he hits a button on the dashboard and he starts getting these old, you know, he starts recalling these stories, and Wayne's World, and goes back to the future.
It would be a cool way to do it because they've never done anything quite like that. I mean, obviously that's been done in other shows, movies,
and it's not time travel; it's just flashbacks.
Yeah, flashbacks. Yeah. So, and then you can, like you said, you can include both of them. I mean, Billy D is no spring chicken, so we got to be careful here. He's isn't he in his mid-80s?
Yeah, my bet is he doesn't leave the cockpit seat. he's there the whole time. He's got that woman on the ship just to go get him a new cape. She's like, by the 8th episode, she's like, "Are you going to shower?"
Yeah, I get it. Great stories, but you need to move.
Yeah,
bring me the vac tube. I gotta use it.
And the Acolyte.
This is the one I'm excited about just because it's a different era. I have no clue what they're going to do because, I mean, I think I might try to read these High Republic books that are coming out soon just to get a taste of what's to come, but I don't really know much about that era at all right now.
Well, the way that they're putting it into effect, everyone thinks that it seems to be leading to the story of Darth Plagueis, or like he would be alive, but like a Sith Padawan or whatever, which would make him the Acolyte, and it would make his master, I can't remember his name, starts with a T, I think. So that might be the story that they're going to kind of. There's got to be like a character or something we're kind of familiar with, right?
Right.
Don't you think?
Well, yeah, you think
some
so.
origin story, but like at the same time, something that we've never seen before, and I think that's what they're going for. And Yoda was alive then, so we're probably going to see a little bit of Yoda. I think he was in one of the covers, or there's an image of him in the High Republic books, so we know Yoda's around then.
Darth Tenebris?
There you go. Yes.
That's how you say it.
Darth Teninitis.
Tennis elbow. Darth Tennis elbow.
I can't swing my saber anymore.
When 900 years old you are.
Yeah.
Well, then also I think somebody mentioned too, is there some sort that Darth Bane character also was mentioned, and I don't know what the timeline is for that character, but that was another one that they thought might pop its head
I think
up.
that took place before Plagueis, didn't it?
Yeah, I think so. That's where we'll have to do a little digging, but we'll see. I'm anxious. I really would like to know. I mean, I know we're still working through it, but I'd love to know the release schedule for all of this stuff, just to have an idea when it's coming. You know,
when she started saying like 2023, I'm like, why the fuck are you announcing it now?
Yeah, save that.
Like, save that for next year's investors call. Quit giving us so much hope.
You blew your wad. Well,
I'm
Star
like,
Wars.
I better not die in the next 3 years. I'm gonna be pissed.
That's what your tombstone's gonna say.
Yeah.
So mad about Star Wars.
And this is how he quit the show.
They mentioned the droid story and Visions, which I'm not as excited about. The droid story thing is like an anime, or no, the Visions thing is an anime, which I'm not as big on anime stuff, but I'll see what it is, kind of a collection of stories. And then the droid story thing is, it's confusing how they describe it. It's almost like it's some sort of hybrid animation live action thing with 3PO and R2 in it.
Right.
So
I don't know if it's like, is it like...
Sounds kid friendly to me. Like, who cares about the droids?
Well, it's fucking C-3PO and R2-D2 again with a new droid, and they're on their own mission.
Everyone, like, here's a heads up, everybody. Everyone just tolerates those characters. Everyone likes R2. Everyone tolerates 3PO.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I like Clanker
does Anthony Daniels like have pictures of Lucas and Kennedy or something? Like, how does this guy keep coming around?
I think he's just always there. Like, he always just manages to show up near the creator. So he's always like, "Hey guys, just letting you know." So they're like, "Well, he's persistent. He's really dedicated.
Sure
Maybe
is,
we should find something for him."
Hey guys, my character is important too, right? Right? Somebody back me up here.
I'll probably watch it though. To be fair.
We'll see. And and the Visions thing, we'll have to see what that entails. I'm not sure, but it's just exciting to have this many things coming. I mean, at one point, I think one of the guys said toward the beginning of that investor call, that they were going to be releasing something new every week. Like, he just kind of threw that out there.
Yeah.
Now, granted, there's a lot of other stuff. There's Marvel.
100 new things of content each year.
Fuck.
Yep,
okay.
Is their goal for the next 3 years, I believe it was.
That is a direct challenge, Netflix.
Yeah, and they wanted to be at what? 125 subscribers by 2024, and because they are almost at 100 now, they've changed their projection to 300 to 350 subscribers.
I thought you were going to say 1
not just
billion.
Disney Plus, but between Disney Plus, Hulu, and their Star program they're putting out.
Right.
But they're all interconnected at ESPN Plus. But yeah, so 350 subscribers. I wouldn't be surprised if they're there a year early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I think Netflix, what's his name? Ted Serranos or Ted. He must have been watching that investors call on the shitter the whole time. Like, oh boy, because Disney's coming headhunting, man.
Yeah.
And they've got the not only they have the content, but they have the IP, which is what Netflix doesn't have.
Right.
Chuckling at him.
I just envisioning him with a bottle of Malax, just fucking, oh, they're killing me. Holding on like the guy from Mallrats.
Like doing spit takes. 10 new shows. What? Like,
Yeah.
Okay. One other bit of news I just wanted to mention as a side note, because I have kids, you guys do as well. The Ambin Phase Pulse Nerf rifle was announced. This motherfucker.
Oh, like the Mando's rifle?
Yes.
Oh.
It's 4 feet long. It looks slick as fuck. It costs $120. So I'm like, sweet. So I tell my lady friend about it. I'm like, maybe we should try to sneak in this and get one for the boys. I go online. It's like pre-order by December 31st. Ships October 21st. Well, thanks
it's like
for the huge
Kenner
heads
toy
up.
card. Do you get a cardboard box that comes in the mail? And your kid gets to stare at it for a year.
Eventually it'll show up.
Capitalize on that "Be Here by Christmas" movement.
That's what that is, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, so that's quite the warning. But man, if you get a chance, look it up online. It looks pretty awesome.
I will. I'll look that up.
Yeah.
So it comes out October next year, but you can start ordering it just after Christmas.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So.
Good Lord. All right. Let's go into this. Chapter 15.
And then I saw his face.
I was just going to start singing that. Now I'm a believer. Okay, directed and written by Rick Famuyiwa. That's what I said. Mm-hmm. Who also did chapters 2 and 6 of season 1. Yeah. I just wanted to butt in here real quick and say, hated this fucking episode. I hated it. I didn't like the fact at first. Okay. When it went backwards, it slowed down, it dropped. It was like we had all this momentum. We had these big characters, Ahsoka, and then we had Boba Fett, and then we go pick up Mayfield and go hang out on a fucking planet, and it's just like this little A-team side mission. It irked me, but then I walked away from it a little bit and thought about it, and then I watched it last night again on the big screen, and then it was a whole new show. It felt better. Like I didn't get the intricate story they were telling with between the both of them, Mando and Mayfield. Yes. And like the deep and the whole, and we'll get into like the whole Tarantino feeling of them in that little room having a drink and sitting down.
Fuck yeah.
Man, it was like a study on acting, man. It reminded me sort of like the not as well written, but well written. The scene at the beginning of Inglourious Bastards where he just walks in the house and he's sitting there at the table telling a story, pouring his milk, and you see she's under the fucking floorboards, shaking her boots. Like it was something like that. Or even the Inglourious Bastards where they're all in the bottom of that bar, and Fassbender's just sitting over there in the corner. Yeah,
and he's like, you're not German, you're not Nazi, and all that. Yeah.
Yep.
I do like the fact that the second half of the season has just kind of been the no fucking around mode. Like, let's just get right into it. There's no like slow build into the episode. They just immediately jump in, which is really cool. And really the only thing that gave us any sort of idea that any time had passed whatsoever from the end of last episode and the beginning of this one is that slick paint job.
Boba.
Right, yes.
Boba, yeah. Oh,
yeah. Just a little turtle wax and he's good to go. Just buff right out, sir.
He's like, I've had this lacquering kit that I found on Amazon in my fucking Slave One cargo hold for years, and I just been waiting to find my armor because he looked brand new right out of the box.
Yeah,
I was like,
still the dent, still the dent right here. So that was kind of funny. But yes, I looked back to see what he looked like in Jedi just to remind myself. He was scuffed up then. This is the best his armor has looked ever.
Yep. It was like he traded in and got a new one. We just didn't see that episode. He's like, I'm part of the team, guys. I swear to God, I'll be back in a minute. Just takes off in the Slave One.
Where'd he go? It was certainly...
He got refurbished.
Had to find a body shop on Tatooine that dealt with Beskar.
It was certainly a mission-type episode, like you mentioned, but it did seem to feed the kind of greater end game more than some of the other side missions have as far as what they were building toward. Obviously, a huge character development for Mayfield, and I thought Bill Burr just nailed it. I think if you don't like Bill Burr, you would have struggled with this episode. I do like him, and it was fun to watch because it's a lot of him, and it's a mix of his humor and then just some really great intense acting that he had, like the moment you said where they're in the cafeteria or whatever. But there were certainly bits where it was like, this is the Bill Burr stand-up special for a minute. Okay.
Yeah, what's he say when he points back at her? They're all
rebel
slave
dropper.
one.
Calls her a rebel dropper.
Well, that, and he's like, your sunny disposition.
Yeah,
it's too
that's
bad
what he
you're not
says.
coming along.
Okay, so we pick up and we know that Mayfield's on some prison planet in some scrapyard. I can't remember the name of the planet.
Inmate 34667. He gets called that like
I was just going to say Carthan Chopfields. Is what
that's what it was.
Carthan.
The Carthan Chopfields. And I love how this robot just isn't having any of his like.
He gets Ed 209.
You're not funny, sir.
Did you see that? Like, it was the fucking exact dialogue from RoboCop. You have 3 seconds to comply.
Right.
Ed 209.
Okay.
Like,
you're correct.
I was like, okay. I was like, what's going on here? That was
he
kind
pulls
of
out a bug zapper.
Yeah, he's like, all right, I'm moving. Like, Jesus.
So many tie bodies, by the way. It's just a littered with tie bodies.
Like anybody that walked in there is just like, wow, these things last a long time, don't they? Rebels really got you guys by the goose, don't they? Because I mean, just like they're everywhere. That's just a tie yard.
Yes.
And so he's a little annoyed. Like, where am I going? Where am I going?
And that guard, by the way, is the same guard as the one on the prison ship. It's not the same unit. It's the same model of those guards that were on the prison ship. I looked it up because I was like, I think that's what they are. And I looked it up, and they're like almost exactly the same.
Okay. But I love how they walk past like maybe 2 busted down TIE fighters and hang a hard left. And right there above the hill is the Slave One. Yeah. It's like, you didn't see or hear this thing land?
He was busy. He had his head down. He was doing his welding.
He's got to have 15 TIE fighters cut up and chopped up, ready for...
He's got a quota.
Yeah, he's got a quota, or else he gets zapped in the ass with that bug zapper.
Right in the hole.
Turn his brown eye blue.
And then he nearly shits his pants because he sees Fett. I love that. Like his reaction, like, oh God. And then he's like, oh man, I thought you were this other guy.
And then he comes strrolling down the ramp.
To the music, too. The music comes on as he walks out.
Here I am.
You're here to kill me? No. We need you because you're Empire.
So you find out he's Imperial, previous Imperial, and he knows his clearances and his protocols. So they need him for this mission to go to a secret Imperial mining hub on Morak.
There you go.
Quick note here. My company believes very much so in security and data integrity and all those kinds of things. So this guy's been out of the Imperial work for a long time, and yet his clearances still work. Like, we have to change our passwords every 90 days. So I don't know who's running the security protocols at the Empire, but
it's a little company called Enron.
Password written on a sticky note.
Yeah. Anybody can pass the security clearance as long as you're not in the system against the Empire.
Right.
See, now I had a question on that. Like, my first thought was, jumping way ahead, obviously, Mando removes his Stormtrooper helmet and goes to scan his face. Right. Well, we're reviewing the episode. There's not a whole lot of spoilers here. Anyways, so my first thought was he prior Imperial at some point?
No. It was as long as you weren't on like...
That makes zero sense.
As long as you weren't on the watch list, you were able to access all data.
Any civilian with a data stick can stick it in there and just fucking
and
scan
they can
your
be
face.
Scanned and get into the system as long as they're not wanted by with the IE. Hold on, it's right.
The ISB.
Yes.
This is the Imperial Security Bureau.
Correct.
Okay. So I guess I was
Which is a weird system, but it's a loophole. It works.
Big loophole.
Yeah. It's Kara's now a Republic Marshal, so she's in the system as a Republic. Fett, I love his response. Let's just say they'll recognize me.
They might recognize my face. I love that.
Fennec is wanted by the Imperial Security Bureau. Mayfield used to work for them, but he can still... He was going to get scanned, so he's fine. But what was the reason... Would they need 2 people to go? Oh, they didn't trust him. This is the whole... And this plays into the believer thing. Like, this has... I like how the title has multiple meanings a lot of times.
Well, yeah, I got to the end of the episode and I was like, wait a minute, the title. Who is the believer? And then as I thought about it, I thought, well, I assume they're talking about Mando and his rituals and all that stuff and taking off the helmet for the sake of changing his belief. He's sacrificing things just for the sake of trying to find this person that he's so tied to now, Baby Yoda.
Yeah, when we wrap up, I have a few ideas for that too. So yeah, they decide Mando's going to go. He's got an idea. They jump on the truck, whoop some ass. I love how he's complaining because the suit's all wet inside. It just made me feel
gross.
Gloves
are still wet.
So gross, man.
Right. Yeah, so they hijack a Juggernaut, which is like a big crawler type vehicle, and then they're making their way to this mining depot, and they keep getting attacked by these pirates. And apparently there's an unlimited supply of these
Carrier
guys.
number 4 has been destroyed. It's been destroyed. He's like, what the hell is going on?
Didn't it feel like a video game? Like, I felt like it was the point where you were going, oh, again, we've talked about that a lot, that the show feels like a video game. I heard some people reference like it felt like Indiana Jones type scenario with them, guys attacking the truck and then getting kicked off the truck.
It was like a train robbery, sort of.
Kind of. I felt like it was that feeling of anxiousness, like I just got to get to the next checkpoint because I'm so tired of doing this over and over because I keep dying because my truck keeps exploding.
Where do these villains keep coming from?
so many thermal detonators.
Right. Yeah.
Did anyone else okay, so as they were driving through that village, there was that kid sitting off to the side and they did the close up on him.
Mm-hmm.
That kid, for a moment, I'm so again with my timeline stuff, I looked at him. He looked like he could be the grandson to the guy from Rogue One. I'm one with the Force. That guy,
yeah?
You know what I mean? He looked eerily like that guy, and I was trying to figure out where he would fit. Was that guy from Rogue One, the
yes.
Jedi dude?
Yep.
The Jedi. Well, he wasn't a Jedi. So now that would be way before this, right?
Correct.
That would be it would be 10 years before this.
10 years before that, so that could be his son, or
no, because we're 10 years after Jedi.
No, we're only 5 years after Jedi.
So that was Rogue One is before A New Hope.
Yes, just before.
Just before.
Days before.
Days before A New Hope. So then it would be what's between A New Hope and Jedi? How long? 10 years?
A New Hope. So A New Hope obviously is the Battle of Yavin. That's what everything's based off of.
Yep.
So if this was essentially when was it Chirrut? Is that guy's name? When he was around, that would have been 0. And then this is supposed to be right around 9 or 10 after that. So it's supposed to be 5 years after Return of the Jedi. That's my understanding.
I thought it was 10 years after Return of the Jedi. Okay, maybe it's 10 years after.
I don't know now.
Remember, it's 10 years after BBY.
Either way, I'm sorry, I threw everybody off. But did anyone else get that vibe from that kid?
No, I just thought he was. I think we were supposed to feel bad for the people who live on the planet.
He had those eyes too. He had really, because
he was. They played a lot of because that went into the discussion with Mayfield. Explaining doesn't matter what planet you're on, they think they're right, look at you. And I like how he's like, yeah, and I'm talking about you people, you Mandalorians.
Mandalorians. Yeah. Mayfield isn't politically correct in real life or on the show.
Right.
So.
It was certainly a bit of a both sides argument he was making. It just depends on your perspective. It's kind of the same thing we got with oh God, I can't remember the guy's name now, but Benicio del Toro's character when he was showing off the fact that both sides of this fight are doing some shady shit. So don't feel like you're holier than thou kind of deal.
Yep. Yeah. I liked that conversation he had, and he made a lot of sense to Mando. And then Mando he did exactly what he said. He's like, look, it doesn't matter what it is, when you're put in a corner and it comes to you surviving, you'll do what you have to do, no matter what you believe in. And that's what he does. He's not supposed to take the helmet off. He's already put a stormtrooper helmet on and costume. He gets there. He goes in there. Then he decides, well, I'm not going to go in there. This guy's, I used to work for him, and he's an asshole. He might recognize me. So then he's like, well, I'll go in there then. And he takes his helmet off. Yeah. So it's a whole thing. I'm going too far.
So
that's okay.
They're hauling these loads of, what is it, tritium?
Rhydonium.
Rhydonium, I'm sorry.
That's come up before. We've heard about that.
They've got these hot loads of rhydonium and the
hot loads. Sorry.
These pirates keep attacking him, and apparently Mando either his blaster jams or it runs out of ammo. I never seen a blaster run out of ammo before. Yeah. Did you think?
No, I haven't either.
Or maybe it just malfunctioned.
I think it just malfunctioned, and I like how he then just chucks it at the guy. But also he takes that shot from that dude and gets that feeling of, oh, I'm not wearing Beskar.
Yeah, he loses a piece of his PVC.
He's like, oh
explodes.
Shit, this is what these guys are hamstrung with. Is this
like
shitty
Superman
gear?
with kryptonite? Shit, I'm human.
Did you see one of the pirates, whatever race they were? The dude was wearing a sleeveless denim work shirt. What is this guy wearing? He's attacking him.
He's got out of the mines.
It's like he's getting beat up by a guy that works at Joe's Auto Body. It's hilarious.
But he does a whale of a job keeping him, at bay.
I like it where he's like, all right, here we go again. Round 2.
But then when the ties swoop in, of course, your immediate thought is, well, one, Bill Burr, Mayfield's like, woo, when they come in and shoot, which it starts to mess with your mind a little bit. Like, now I'm rooting for the Empire here in this particular moment to try to save the guys that I'm invested in, even though the Empire's, supposed to be the bad side. But it also makes you think, well, where the fuck were those ties before? Could they not have come back further on the route and helped them out earlier?
Yeah. Like, why don't they patrol that whole trail?
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Flex
like, you got alerted. They're like 3 minutes away from the base. You got alerted of 2 carriers being destroyed before you're getting attacked on carrier 5 or whatever they are.
They were the pilots were in the mess hall.
One of them was in the can. He ate something bad. It's like, I'll be there in a minute.
And then I like, so they get saved by the TIE fighters, and then they go rolling into this mining depot, and
they're like heroes of the Empire.
Well, we see those shore troopers too, man, from Rogue One.
Yeah. Well,
cool.
and then also like he's just not wearing his helmet the whole time, and no one says a thing. He's just like rolling in. You see his big bald head. I was like, you got to be breaking protocol here, man. Like, get your fucking helmet. Like, no one says anything. He's just like saluting motherfuckers. It's just Bill Burr behind the wheel.
Sure, I didn't even think about that.
I was like, put your helmet on. Like, what are you doing?
I don't know how you wear these things all the time. I'm taking mine off.
Crazy.
I know that just relentless needling of Mando in the on the truck drive when they're like before they get attacked is so stinking funny with him being like, "See, feels so much better when it's off." And he what is it? He says, "Is it that you can't take the helmet off, or you can't wear another helmet? Which one is it?" It's kind of funny,
right? Yeah, and that's where he's talking about breaking the rules for like self-preservation and stuff.
Yeah.
And then that's just foreshadowing because so they go into they make their way into, they're trying to get to the data terminal.
Right.
And they've got a stick. They've got one of the data sticks and they're going to go in there.
It's the ATM in the cafeteria.
The ATM in the cafeteria, the officers mess. Mm-hmm. And Valen Hess is the officer that's sitting at the table that was Baker Mayfield.
There you go. I'd like to see how this tie works. Browns quarterback, Baker Mayfield.
Yep, he made a guest appearance. So he's sitting there. He's going in. He gets like spooked and turns around. He's like, I can't go in there. He's like, this guy's gonna recognize me.
Yep.
And that's when Mando decides to grab the ATM card and walk up to the ATM. Right. And
what's your pin, Burr?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3,
what's your
4.
pin, Mayfield?
It's amazing. It's the same combination on my luggage.
All right.
So yeah, he sticks the thing in, and he's got to take his helmet off, and you see him take his helmet off. He kind of struggles, has the moment. He tries to scan.
His acting is fucking amazing because it's so it's small. Everything he does, like even like when he calls him, you just see his eyes a little bit, but he doesn't move his face. He doesn't do anything. He's like it's not like caught, but it's always like. Even when he's sitting down, like sorry to interrupt you, but like when he's sitting down and they're having that long conversation, like all of Burr's movements are just animated and whatever he's doing. And Mando, like he can't turn his head; he does everything like he's still wearing a fucking helmet.
That's exactly right. Somebody was saying that they think that went into his acting thought process. Is this guy has worn a helmet for almost the better part of his life, so he's so used to turning his head to look at stuff, and so he acted that way even with the helmet off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I noticed that. Like when he's sitting there, like he moves the body to. It was really cool how they did it. I really liked that. It was those small little things. But yeah, go ahead. Okay, so he's at the terminal.
So this Valen Hess confronts him and
creepy motherfucker.
Yeah,
Rudolph Hess reference there, a little Nazi reference.
Oh, okay, very good. So he comes up and he's obviously like the most grizzled Imperial officer you've ever met. He's got this gravelly voice, and he's just like. Doesn't give a shit. Like he's the big bad in the cafeteria. Apparently, he's been roughing up Imperial officers and stormtroopers all day. Bill Burr's character has to come in and save him because like Mando's just sitting there like I don't know. He's like, "What's your designation? What's your call sign or whatever?"
Well, first he wants to know his FN number.
Yeah. Well, he asks him. He's like, what does he say? What's your designation? What's your?
He says, "What's your designation?" He says, "I'm a transport pilot or something like that or whatever he said." And then he goes, "No, what's your TK number?"
Yeah, that's TK number.
Yeah. And then he's like, "Oh, he lost. What did he say? He's lost his hearing. We call him Brown Eyes."
Yes. Yeah.
Did you catch that reference though, where he said he lost his hearing?
Yeah, it was on the
Tanab. Do you remember that reference? So no. Tanab. There's other stories about Tanab as well, but there's the scene in Return of the Jedi when Han's like, "Look at you, Lando. They made you a general." And he's like, "Somebody must have told him about that little maneuver on the Battle of Tanab." Just fucking tied everything together. Gonna tie it all together.
Wow.
Nice catch. Jesus,
God,
man.
you got some years on you.
Well, I watched the second time with captions, and I see some of the shit pop up, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Okay. It's a good thing you're married now.
I know, because I wouldn't get there otherwise. Not with this podcast. Sorry, fellas.
I was thinking about that earlier. Have we had one female write in, or is there a female on the scoreboard?
Jeannie.
Oh, Jeannie's on the scoreboard. Okay.
Yeah, and
okay.
Annalise retweets our stuff. So yeah.
Okay.
We got a couple. And Kyle.
Anybody that we don't know.
Well, no.
Okay.
We're just trying to build the audience right now,
Yeah,
right?
we are.
All right, well, I've got my mission going forward. I'm going to start putting our feet out on Tinder.
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Just put it on all your dating sites.
This really weird, creepy guy
Currently
like
hosting a Star Wars podcast.
keeps hitting on me, saying
She's-
he wants me
she's-
to wear a slave Leia outfit. I don't know what this is about.
She swiped left on my picture, but right on my podcast. There you go.
Hey-o.
Don't you love the other reference? Oh, we got to work on those TPS reports.
That's okay. I was wondering. I heard that there was an Office reference or Office Space reference.
Okay.
I was wondering where it was at. Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
Okay.
And did you know who played Hess? Did you catch the actor's name?
He was Joe Chill in
Yep.
a Batman movie, and he was the Night King. Was that what he is? The Winter is Coming guy.
Yeah, but I haven't seen that. But yes,
Oh.
I think you're right there. But
Yeah.
yes, the actor's name is Dick Brake. His name is Richard Brake, but I like to call him Dick.
Yeah.
you just have to go with it. Richard
Dick
Cranium.
Brake.
Oh, man.
So they end up sitting at a table with Valen, and you get some backstory on Baker. Why do I keep calling him Baker?
I'm just going to keep calling him Baker.
I got
It's
it in
not
my notes,
Mayfield,
that's why.
It's Mayfield. Miggs.
Mayfield.
His name is Miggs. Call him Miggs.
All right, I'm calling him Mayfield.
Miggs Mayfield. Eminem.
Okay, so you get some backstory on Mayfield, and he was apparently a part of this guy's squadron or whatever, and Valen ordered an entire city to be like razed to the
It's
ground.
part of Operation Cinder.
You know what that is?
I have in our factoid, but we can do it now.
Matt is Mr.
Go ahead.
Well, I recognize this because I played the video game. It's in Battlefront 2. The whole premise of Battlefront 2 is that after the Death Star's destroyed, the Emperor dies. He had this contingency plan called Operation Cinder, which was essentially to wipe out. Basically, like if I go down, I want the entire fucking rebellion to go down too. So he had all these plans in place, and it included sending out these like weather disturbing satellites to different planets that just totally fucked up these planets. That was the whole operation.
So even in death, he created carnage.
What a real sore loser.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Order 66 wasn't enough. He also had Operation Cinder in play. Real bastard. And then he never fucking died.
I know. So
That's a real dick move, too.
a real dick move.
Yeah.
Emperor, that's a dick move.
Real dick break move. All right, so Mayfield.
There you go.
Struggling. Mayfield.
Why are you pausing? What's going on here?
I'm like out of my element right now. Mayfield like straight up Hans this dude from like Han versus Greedo. Just
But you can see it coming.
slaps leather and
Like,
just
you even
crawdads
see him, like, look over, and he's fucking fuming, and he's trying not to, like, show it. And you see Mando, like,
Don't do it. Don't
Yeah.
do it, Baker.
And he just, bam, shoots him. Well,
Yeah, they built the tension of
Here
that
we go.
moment up
They
so
did,
well.
man.
Especially
So well.
because that guy was so fucking unapologetic about everything he'd ever done, the
Right.
Hess guy. And it just was getting under Burr's skin so much. Like, you don't even give a shit, you motherfucker. So then he's just like, fine, fuck it, I'm going to shoot him.
Well, he's like, did they deserve to die? All those people, all their families, like, missing those people? Says everyone thinks they want freedom, but what they really want is order. And he's like, fuck you.
Boom.
Your dick stops now.
And then the whole room goes silent. Mando looks at him like, what did you just do? And then when he looks,
Stormtroopers still holding a fucking lunch tray.
but I love the little move. He like leans back and puts the gun against his chest and fires like the cross shot. That was awesome.
And then like Mayfield is like he doesn't miss. Like
No.
all the other stormtroopers, everyone is like it's like 55 shots and then one of them will hit. Mayfield's just plugging motherfuckers.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's his specialty. He's a pretty good shot.
Well, he was a sniper, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have a nice little moment with him and Mando where he's like, gives him the helmet and he's like, here, I never saw your face.
Right.
Yeah.
Almost like a little nod.
Little
They
homage.
redeemed everything you thought he was a shitty person from the first season. You get a whole other side of this person, and I love the change up. You know, the well crafted character work they did on him. So now it's like they can't. He has to come back, right? Like you got to see more Mayfield.
I would think at some point, but yeah, I don't think we're going to see him next.
He'll be the leader of the Rangers. Watch.
Oh shit!
So these guys backdoor it out the window. They kick out like one of the shades, and they're out on they're out on the roof. They make their way to the roof. They're killing stormtroopers left and right. Fennec and Kara are at the high ground, and they're
So
sniping away.
Sniper. Yeah.
So fucking awesome.
Yeah, they're calling out their shots. You got one on your left, and blah blah blah. Like they're just blasting dudes. I like how like when all the stormtroopers were falling, you didn't get the Wilhelm scream.
Right.
Yeah, like
I think they have a new one. They talked about it before. That they have some new thing they use.
But it was like the falling screams kept cracking me up because they did it like 4 in a row. Like the blaster shot didn't kill them, but then they got to fall to their death.
Well, then there's the one that climbs out the window to go after him, and it was it's Kara's first shot when she goes, "Yeah, I see him," and she drops and she shoots, and she gets the guy like right in the fucking between the shoulder blades, man. And I just
fucking dirt in the neck, man.
I go, oh, like it had to hurt, man.
And then there's a fucking stormtrooper with the genius idea of trying to like underneath the blind, like stick his arm out, and then you get
it's like a cat's fucking paw under a door.
Mayfield just like bends down and puts his gun in his face and shoots him.
At him. He's like, "Give me that gun."
It's like when you're afraid to kill a bug, so you kind of sneak up on it, like from far away. Yeah,
this is a good idea. I mean, I was number 31 out of 30 recruits in my class. I'm gonna try this tactic. Jesus, so this is stupid.
Hurry up! I am hurrying. They get to the top of the roof. Now, we all talked about Kara's good run a couple episodes ago. Did anyone see Bill Burr trying to break it?
Yes.
Oh, it was the slowest like run where he's hustling across the rooftop.
Not the most athletic. No.
Yeah.
It's pretty ugly.
Maybe it was a water boy or something. So they get on Slave One, right?
Yep.
Like Boba picks them up and they're escaping, and then you got 2 TIE fighters coming in.
2 TIE fighters that saved them.
Did you know it was coming?
No.
Did I know what was coming? Yeah.
Oh, I totally knew it was coming.
I was
the seismic charge.
Yep.
And the same exact took me right back to Attack of the Clones, like where Obi-Wan's chasing him through space, and he's dropping the seismic charges.
Those things are so badass.
I was waiting to hear you talk about like, where's he going to refill that at?
I guess apparently I'm the inventory and supply specialist for the show.
Exactly.
Flamethrower detail, inventory and supply specialist. That's my
and the rocket.
And the rocket.
Yeah.
Oh, that's inventory?
Yep.
That's inventory.
Yep.
Yeah, it falls under inventory.
Yep.
But yeah, I have a lot of gripes with episode 2. But one of the things that I think was best about that was the Camino stuff and him chasing after Jango and those seismic charges. I thought that was so
awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
So when those 2 ties came up, I'm like, he's going to do it. And as I'm hitting buttons, I'm like,
I
it's
completely
happening.
forgot about it because I haven't seen Attack of the Clones in probably, it's been over 10 years, probably longer.
It's pretty sweet, and they made it look just like they did in that movie. But then what was also I thought was cool was then right after that happens, on the ground still are Fennec and Kara, and Fennec looks at Kara like, pretty fucking cool, right? Like she just looks like that. Yeah, I knew that was coming.
I'm with this guy. He's my friend.
Yeah, right.
Then they got to go huff it through the woods.
Yep.
And they just come out, and you watch enough movies where like they never like come out of the woods and look the way the ship isn't. Like they come out of the woods and they just turned right and went right to it. Like they don't. Maybe they saw it in the woods. They're like, oh, it's over here. Let's break out here. But it was just kind of funny when they come out of the woods. They go right to it. Like they didn't even like. Okay, are they around here somewhere?
Well, and the transition little wipe they did, plus the setting of the planet, gave me a kind of a Return of the Jedi feel. They had a lot of those wipes in Return of the Jedi, so that was kind of cool.
One thing we kind of glossed over too is Mayfield's character takes the sniper and blows up the entire factory by shooting the Rhydonium.
This is how I sleep at night.
Yeah, you just like blast that exposed core.
Yep.
No one shut the hatch apparently.
Well, and the other thing we glossed over too from earlier is with Slave One, how badass was that when they go sit in that fucking thing and the thing's rotating and you see how it transitions from like hover to flight mode?
I couldn't figure it out. Like I'm sitting inside the ship and I'm trying to see how it tilts, and I'm like, the wall is the wrong way because the back end would have been, why was that gyro if that's where the motor is, where the blasters come out of the end? Because it's the right. Like I couldn't figure out how I need to see some damn ship diagnostics.
We need blueprints.
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
it's like one of those bowls you give to a baby, and it just it's always level. So
yeah.
No matter what way they're facing up.
Yeah. It's okay. I see. Yeah.
It's like a floating.
It's like they're just
capsule.
like in a pod.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. That works for me.
It was cool looking though. The way they did it, I thought was pretty sweet.
Yeah, I liked being able to see the inside of Slave One. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I've never seen it before, except for the cockpit.
Boba Fett keeps a tidy ship. He runs
He sure does.
Tidy crew.
Well, it puts them all in a circle with like all seat belted down in their seats,
got enough seats
in
for
a circle
everybody.
facing each other. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Exactly. Everybody's got a seat.
The meeting has been called. They're all sitting there facing each other.
Knights of the Round Table assemble.
Yep.
So now they've got the coordinates for Moff Gideon where he's at. They got their mission is accomplished, and now Mando gets to do the hologram scene.
He puts a long distance call out.
Yep, and he hits him with his own dialogue.
Yeah,
did you guys notice that?
It's the exact same.
Awesome.
Yes, yeah, it was.
Now I wonder what's your guys' speculation on that? Like now you just played your hand. Like you had the element of surprise, maybe.
Right.
Now you just like, hey Moff, what's up?
Yeah.
What's up, Mafaka?
I'm coming for you.
Hey, Moff, hello, I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
Like, what is he doing there?
I don't know about you, but I thought Moff looked shook. Like he was like, oh fuck. Like he he's always got that kind of confident, demeanor to him. He did not look very happy about that message. He was like,
no.
Shit.
He looked like, did they dare come knock on my door?
Yeah.
It'd be funny if he's just
my door?
he's gripping the Dark Saber and accidentally just shoots him. No, turns it off. Oopsies.
You guys didn't see that. Nobody saw that.
Yeah.
There's a dead Imperial officer to his right. Oops.
Do you think he wanted to hit the reply and be like,
He killed the cameraman.
Killed the guy in the blue jeans that was in the back corner.
Yeah.
he probably wanted to hit reply and be like, good luck. It's a little bit of a Taken kind of vibe there with that whole.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a certain set of skills and a flamethrower and a replenishable.
And something else. So what's Mayfield going to do, by the way? They're just like, all right, you're free because we're going to pretend you're dead. And he's like, all right. Cool.
Yeah, does he just call a space Uber? Like, what's going on here? He's just like, you're dead. We're going to let you live. And he's like, oh, okay. And he starts walking away. He watches the ship fly away. And I'm thinking, does he even know where he is?
Yeah.
Like,
Could they have dropped me off somewhere?
How's he? And he's not. Yeah, he doesn't even ask. Be like, well, how about you get me a little closer to home or nothing? He's just like,
Everybody, and you saw that coming from the minute they busted him out of the jail. Like they're gonna let him go. Like
yeah.
Kara's gonna let him go.
Well, I think that plays into the believer thing. Like she believed one thing about him, she learned something else. The whole believer with him having certain beliefs, Mando changing his beliefs for what he needs to do to get his
That's what
child
I focused
back.
on. So my thoughts were, Mando has been exposed to more of the galaxy, has seen like Bo-Katan's crew and all the other way the other Mandalorians are acting. He understands that the way he's believing isn't necessarily the way he kind of is. Like he didn't know he was in a cult, but now he knows he's in a cult. So now he's kind of like.
I don't know if that plays into his. I think he was desperate to save the kid. I think that's I think you're right. Learning that, but I don't think that because otherwise he would have taken the helmet off by now, right?
Totality of the circumstances.
If they're doing it, why can't I? But he keeps that helmet on.
Yeah, I think he's conflicted. I think he's just sticking to what he knows and what he's comfortable with, but maybe has, like you said, he's a little more open to having to be flexible on some of that stuff for the sake of the cause.
Yeah, that's a good question, and that's one of the reasons why this episode turned me off at first was because. The last season, the 2 episodes went together, and it was just like this big, almost like a movie, right? And then this one is, we're on this side mission, and I'm like, what about Moff Gideon? What about the Dark Saber? Where's all the action? What's going to happen here? Who did Grogu talk to? There's a lot of unanswered things and a lot of things that we're expecting to see, and none of it happened in this episode. And it really, it just turned me off for a minute, because I like that Favloni. They keep going where you don't expect them to. They keep doing the things you don't expect them to. So I give them all the credit in the world, but we're 2 episodes, now 1 out, and I'm like, why did we spent all this time for nothing? To get coordinates.
Let's speculate on what's next. Because I
think
like
that's doing that.
I think that's what this leads into is I don't think there's going to be a lot of resolution in this next episode. There's going to be so many things that are left up in the air. Obviously, they're going to go after Gideon. You wonder if it's just going to be the 4 of them, or are they going to add anybody else? Because you think about Grief, you think about Cobb, you think about Bo-Katan, you think about Ahsoka, you think about... I've always thought the armor was going to show up again at some point, but she has not. But I'm wondering, how far are they going to go? Because I would think that they're going to find Gideon somehow. There's going to be some sort of action, fight sequence. I still think Grogu is going to be with Moff in the end. I think he's going to escape with him.
I think so too.
Because I think they want to leave you with that cliffhanger. If you're looking at Star Wars type movies too, the second movie in the trilogy is always like the real.
Yeah, this is going to be the downer.
Walking out. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think that we talked about this. More than one Force user heard the call. There's a lot of people saying that because of the butterflies and the blue lights and it was all light force, the light side of things. So I could be way off. But
oh no, you're gonna have to quit.
I still think like here's what's gonna happen. It's gonna be Beskar staff against Dark Saber. They're gonna be going toe to toe, and then some Mara Jade or whoever's gonna show up and be like, "Come on, little guy, you're coming with me," and then double snatched.
Double snatch.
We've had a Grogu double snatch.
Taken 2.
I think the last scene is going to be somebody showing up at that Seeing Stone, and you're just going to see them like walk up and like touch it, and then it's going to be like boom, and then it's going to be the end of the season. You're going to be like, who the hell was that?
Yep.
Dude, you took the words right out of my mouth, and I don't know if we've talked about this before or our thoughts are bleeding together, but it's going to be like the Boba Fett type thing where he walked up on Fennec.
Right.
You're going to see their feet, or you're going to see something shadowed, mysterious thing. That's how it's going to end. I think we're going to get, it's either going to be happy-go-lucky where they get Baby Yoda back, or it's going to be they're going to have Moff escaping with them, and everyone's going to be like, "What the fuck? That's going to be the big draw for season 3." Like if you want to look at it from like a financial or viewing audience type thing, like what's going to bring people back. So if you got to wait for the entire season 3, like what's going to happen to Baby Yoda? If you got to wait until 2021, Christmas of 2021,
I agree with that.
That's going to be the big cliffhanger. Everyone's going to be like, "What the fuck?" So that's the draw. That's going to be the big draw move on Disney's part if they do it that way.
You guys think someone's going to die. I think we have to have something. There's a lot of people who think Boba Fett's going to die. And I'm like, look, there's no way Disney spent all this money and made everyone happy finally bringing Boba Fett back. Although they didn't announce a TV show for him, so who knows. But they're not going to kill him 2 episodes later.
He's going to die.
No, I don't think he's going to die. But I do think that something will happen, which could be Mace Windu. There's got to be something that puts him on the outs. Like why he's not going to... Boba Fett's not going to just like be
retire?
Team member the whole time, right? No, I think he's going to be put on the outs. Like I think it's going to end with everybody except for maybe Cara and Greef and Mando, those 3 together still. But Boba and Fennec have to go their own way. They got their own story.
I think Boba either retires and hands over the Slave One to Mando, like he gets his armor back.
I don't want that.
He's going to get. I don't care what you want. Mando's getting Slave One.
No.
He doesn't have a fucking Razor Crest. He's getting it.
I know he doesn't.
It's going to happen. What is he going to roll around in a fucking Honda Civic?
I think we're going to be. I think we're going to be stuck with a Mando.
Drive that.
We're going to be stuck with a Mando that he has lost everything. Okay, Baby Yoda lost his little mobile defense folding carriage. He lost the Razor Crest. They lost each other. Like you're right. It's going to end on darkness. He doesn't have a ship.
Darkness.
He ain't got shit. He's going to end up not having a Beskar staff when this episode's over with.
Yeah. Oh God. Don't take the staff. That's the only thing he got. That's the only thing he gained over the season.
Right.
But I still think there's going to be that somebody dies, but I'm trying to think who it would be because you would think Cara survives just because they're leaving that door open for her being in something else down the road. Does Greef die? Does Cobb show up and die? Again, I keep talking about the armor. The one scenario I thought about, but I don't think there's enough time to do this, is could Gideon take the aggressive point, like the offensive tact, and just go to Navarro and be like, I'm going to fuck up all your shit now because he doesn't want to just sit and wait for him. So does he go and the armor is on Navarro, Greef's on Navarro. That's one thing that crossed my mind as a possibility is, does he try to take the fight to Mando? Because he's like, well, he knows where I am and he's trying to come for me. I might as well fuck up his shit.
I see that, and I can see how they would like want to use something they've used before, because for budget reasons they keep going to the same planets, right? That's usually for the budget reasons. So I can see why they would go to Navarro, but for them to go to Navarro again when we already had a season finale happen there, I just don't see that. But like if they have the whole fight on the ship, well, I mean, they've got a bunch of hallways they can shoot in, but what else do they have?
Well, and I wasn't sure if it was like he goes to Navarro, fucks up some shit. They come back there to kind of regroup before they head out and realize what's been done, and then they go after him. So maybe the whole final sequence isn't actually on Navarro, but a piece of it is at the beginning, like first half of the episode.
Attacking his loved ones, the ones closest to him.
Well, here's the thing. Where is Greef? Why isn't Greef with them? I feel like there's going to be a turncoat somewhere too.
Ooh. And that's a fair point too, because maybe that's part of the reason he's going to Navarro. He's thinking, Greef's a businessman, so maybe I need to get some info on Mando and Cara if he doesn't know that she's with him, I guess. But yeah, so that's another. He's going to
pull a Lando and Darth Vader on him.
Yeah,
Like they're going to show up and they're going to, he's going to, well, let's have dinner and sit down. We'll figure this out. They're going to open a door and there's going to be the Dark Troopers and Moff Gideon sitting at the dinner table.
I have altered the deal. Yeah. Pray I do not alter it further.
And Boba walks in and goes, wait a minute. Last time I was over there.
He was too, wasn't he? Yeah. I'm having deja vu.
He's like, he's no good to me if he's dead. Wait, never mind.
Hold on.
Strike that. Strike that. Having flashbacks.
Well, we're gonna find out in a few days. We don't know. Usually, right around Wednesday or Thursday, there'll be like speculation of like how long the next episode is, and they're usually pretty right on that. But that's about it. I don't
know if I wasn't paying attention. Sometimes the title of the episode will leak, and then like you said, the length. But I don't think I heard anything going into this one. So maybe they're tightening that ship up. I don't know.
Well, we'll know soon. How about we get maulbagged?
Yeah, I've got the feeling, the hankering for some mall bags in my face.
I'm a representative of the United States government, authorized by
Order 66.
I'm a postman.
As a reminder, you can reach out to us every week on email at factpapod@gmail.com, or you can DM us on Twitter at factpapod, and we will address all those on the show. We have a few emails this week.
You know, I like that we gave the listeners shit for just like sending an email, and now we get books. Like people are writing us chapters. I look at these emails, I'm like, oh my Lord.
Hey,
very long.
But keep them coming, by the way.
Oh, this is
great. We love it. Yeah. Like, you guys are awesome. And I know you guys aren't doing it just for the Dark Saber entry.
No, hell
you want to talk to us.
Yeah, they really want to hear our thoughts.
We didn't have to twist your arm and bribe you to do this.
Can you put that in that Tinder profile of yours, the email address for FactPapod?
I got it. I'll do it. Everyone's going to think I'm a fake profile.
Subject line, cease and desist. Please leave me alone. So this is from your buddy James Weaver, who has written a bit of a novel here. I thought Chapter 14, he's going back, was the greatest episode of this series. What I was hoping for when the show first came out, showing Boba Fett live action to his greatest potential is what diehard Star Wars fans have been wanting since Empire. I cannot read this week. Action-packed with high stakes. Had me on the edge of my seat for the whole episode. Loved it. Thank you, James. We appreciate
Loved
that.
it.
Only two things I want to critique that I didn't like so much. Here we go. Number one.
There's always a but.
There's always a but. Everybody I know has got a big butt. Pee Wee Herman reference. Mando getting bombarded with blaster fire and only being hit in the armor. We've talked about that a little bit. He also left his jetpack right off the bat, which I know the story needed him not to be chasing after him, but I get it from the story point of view. Okay. You can't get bogged down in these types of details. It's like watching Rogue One and saying, why did Krennic's ship land a mile away from Galen Erso's house? Why didn't he just park right next to the goddamn house?
Right. Because they couldn't have had that awesome widescreen, wide-angle shot of him and the Dark Troopers walking across the barren land.
Exactly. You know? So you have to forego some of that stuff just for the fun of it, but it is fun to make fun of it. Jumping into his number 2, jumping into hyperspace on the planet. The new trilogy really destroyed the rules that were already set in place for the universe, but that's not how space travel in Star Wars is supposed to work. That's just my take on it. He is not happy about that.
Wow,
I love the minutia from
that's
James.
A deep
that's
thought right there.
That's not how space travel works, Favloni.
You can see him just wiping the sweat from his brow as he's writing this.
Or stopping. He stops the episode. And he's in like a BRE, just sitting in like 4 white walls, like a blast.
He starts pacing,
throws his hands up. You can't do that. You haven't broken the atmosphere.
I'm going to write a very lengthy letter to FactPod.
Yeah, do you think he stopped the episode and started typing that? And he was like, okay, I'll move on now.
Taking notes.
And I was going to say, episode 8 gave us like the light speed tracking thing. Episode 9 gave us, I'm talking about actual movies. Mm-hmm. Episode 9 gave us the light speed jumping thing. So they're clearly expanding on what we knew about the possibilities.
You can also pull someone out of hyperspace according to Rebels season 3 finale, right?
That's right.
Battle of Thrawn. When they're battling on the planet. Carry on.
My theories of what I want for future episodes. First theory is what I wish for them to do, not what I think they will do. Grogu tapped into the Force, and Luke will be looking for him. With that, Boba and Mando crew run into each other on the rescue. Boba knows Luke and wants payback for being part of the reason he got knocked into the pit, but he won't act on it until Grogu is saved. Would love a spin-off series with Boba, but don't see them doing that, so I would either assume he gets killed or captured, leaving Mando as Slave 1 since the Razor Crest is destroyed. You guys been talking?
Love it. We did chat.
Okay, I was going to say, I think he's right on the theory, because I said the same thing, but instead of Luke, it's Mace Windu, which I think makes more sense, because just being mad at the guy that was like,
that'd be a
supposed to
cool
fall
dynamic.
off the barge anyways.
When he mentioned this, and I was reading this before the show, that'd be a fun dynamic that Boba's got to, he's bound by his oath to the Mandalorian, to Mando. I can't act against Luke, but that's the cocksucker that knocked me. Well, it's actually Han that knocked him into the...
Yeah, he's got no...
Boba Fett.
He's got no grief with him.
Turns around and
Now, Mace, on the other hand...
Yes.
He took his dada's head.
Right.
Oh, that's right.
That's grief.
Cut it clean off.
Oh, yes,
yeah,
it was.
He did.
Okay.
He did that fucking swirly fucking ballerina
I was thinking they
move.
had the battle on... I was thinking the battle with Obi-Wan. I was mistaken.
Second theory, they might not go with Luke, but maybe Ezra from Rebels and Sabine. With that, Mando can help Sabine with Mandalore, and Grogu can train with Ezra. And I don't think that's going to happen, especially given what we're seeing now with this Ahsoka series coming out. I think that's where we're going to see Ezra and Sabine.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. May the Force be with you.
Thanks, James.
Thanks, James, and I hope you win the Dark Saber.
There it is. Yeah, and you've been maulbagged. Email to...
God, we're getting good at this.
I need a line now. I got to think
Collectively, we've been podcasting for, 20-something years?
I'm just going to say...
We're going to nail it.
You guys will say your line, Matt will say his line, and I'll just say, pow! That's what I'm going to do.
This is from Mike Laybourne, the current entries leader for the Dark Saber contest.
The reigning champ.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good right now. He says, email 1 of 75. I love that. The powers that be ask you to put together a 5-person / droid super team. Who do you pick? No Force users.
Huh. Well, how would we, if they're a droid team, then they can't be Force users anyways.
No, it's person or droid team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I read it the same way you did the first time, then I reread it, and I was like, okay, that makes a lot more sense, because picking 5 droids would be brutal.
It would.
I'm going to go with 2 enforcers, so I'd do Zeb from Rebels, and I would do Chewie, of course.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Chewbacca.
So you need some muscle.
Okay, we got 2 muscles.
2 hairy, muscly.
So we got no Force users. Let me think here. Maybe Admiral Akbar for the brains of the operation. That is a trap. I should have avoided that one.
Yeah.
I got to throw Han in there for the
I think
the witty lines and the blaster fire. And we need
So you're building a team and you're looking to have some fun.
Just looking to I'm looking for a bar crawl. Yeah, who do I want to go out with me? We're gonna rent a party bus. We're gonna go out and hit the downtown Grand Rapids.
the alien guy, Simon Pegg from I'll give you 75 credits,
15 portions,
and then you can go on a bar crawl. Yeah, with Simon Pegg.
No, I'd take BB-8. Just for fun.
Yeah, you gotta.
He's gonna BB-8's
all the droids. I would take BB-8.
All the chicks.
Yeah.
All the chicks. Beep beep beep.
Yeah.
Roll
Chicks
up.
love the balls.
Oh my God! What is this little guy? He's with me. How you doing?
No, you just went Joey on him.
Wait till watch him. He's gonna light. He's gonna light your cigarette. Puts his little torch out.
Who do you got, Jay? You want me to go?
Go ahead. I'll think.
I'm going K2SO as my droid because I just love that character. I thought about R2, but I'm going to go K2SO. I think you got to have a droid in there somewhere. I want to have Han, and I want to have Sabine because Sabine can blow shit up. I want to have Saw Gerrera because he will do fucking anything that it takes to get the job done. And Porkins. No, I'm just kidding. Probably Chewie. I think having Chewie in there, especially if you got Han, they got to be together. They're you can't separate those two.
Can't slight Biggs like that and take Porkins over Biggs.
Yeah.
So you took Sabine.
I took Han, Sabine, Saw Gerrera, Chewie, and K2SO.
Yeah, I feel like you put some work into this. He's looking at a list he had.
I made a list.
Okay,
I don't remember anything, man. If I don't write it down,
I'm gonna drop Zeb off mine and take young Lando Calrissian because he'd be bringing.
Yeah, I was just gonna take Lando.
Yeah. I thought about him just for the charm.
Yeah, if you're going on a bar crawl, you need Lando.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, yeah. You need Lando. I'm gonna go with Lando and Han. I'm gonna have a really good time.
Yeah.
Probably won't be allowed back on the planet when we're done. Who else will I take? We do need some muscle. Who's a good muscle that you guys like? I mean, it's Chewie or Zeb, right? Like,
I thought hard about Zeb too, but I ended up going Chewie.
No Force users.
What about Jabba?
What about him?
Oh man,
Could be
that's where the bar crawl starts.
Not very mobile.
Well, he could bring the barge and just park it outside.
He's the driver, designated driver of Jabba the Hutt.
outside.
you guys are done in there, you can come over here to my barge.
I feel like, okay, so we got, I have Lando and Han, right? I'm going to take Boba Frick too, because he's just a cutie. And then we got BB-8.
Boba Frick?
Right? And that Boba Frick, right?
It's, I'm forgetting his name now, isn't it? It's slightly different. You got it just partially wrong. Is it Baba Frick?
Baba Frick. I think that's
Babu Frick.
Babu
That's
Frick.
what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. And the pilot from, that's the pilot of the Ghost. What's her name?
Hera.
Yeah, I'll take Hera. Because then I just like, I'll sit back and watch Hera, Han, and Lando fight over who gets the front seat and who gets shotgun.
And you got one more.
Just your entertainment value.
Do I have one more? That was 5 of them.
Was it? Hera, Han, Lando, Babu Frick, and who?
And BB-8.
And BB-8. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. You know what I'll do? I'll make a little Twitter poll. I'll put
Okay.
our entries in there. We'll see who thinks who picked the best team. But also, if you want to, write into us and tell us what your team would be. By the way, I did a Twitter poll last week for our question of the week, which we forgot to do this week, but that's okay. And I asked, who would you pick as your X-Wing wingman? And Wedge won 55% of the vote.
Wow.
So well done, Wedge.
He's a winner.
Biggs and Porkins tied with 13%, and then other was 18%, and some people wrote in some options, so that's funny.
Mike, I hope you win the Dark Saber.
There you go. Well, he's not done yet.
Oh, he's not?
He's got more questions.
It's
What's
all
your favorite
hand-acted.
Star Wars video game?
Shadows of the Empire was mine for Nintendo 64.
That was a good game.
Yeah, I replayed the Battle of Hoth probably 5,000 times. I would just go around and I would use my harpoons and tow cables and take down Imperial walkers.
And you go at them from the side.
Yeah, I never went right directly on them. I was smart. I was an intelligent rogue leader. Rogue Squadron.
Is that where your Rogue Squadron love comes from? It's that game?
I loved that game. It was a lot of fun. I mean, we got that for Christmas. We got a Nintendo 64 and that game for Christmas. And you played as, was it was his name Dash Rendar was his name. Was the name of the character. You played as him, but after the Battle of Hoth, the game just sucked. You just ran around third person view of a shooter, blasting people. Yep. Also, there was a game on Sega Dreamcast that I played all the time, and you could. Was it Shadows of the? No, it was something Star Wars something, but you could reflect blaster fire back. If a droid shot at you, and you like hit the left trigger and blocked before the laser hit you, it would reflect the blaster back, and that was the funnest thing in the world to do. Okay. I did that all the time. I gotta message my buddy Dwight and ask him what the name of the game was.
There was an arcade Star Wars game where you were in the X-Wing or whatever, and they put that on the Sega CD, and I would play that all the time over at my buddy Nate's, because he was the only person I knew that ever had a Sega CD. It was some of the arcade games they put on there. And then that game was, like, as a kid, that was fun, but they have a new one. I was at Dave & Buster's last year, and you sit in this thing, and the whole damn thing moves. Yep. And I sat in there with Carter, and Carter loved it. And I'm just watching this thing, and I'm like, you don't even know how goddamn lucky you have it, kid.
You're like in an enclosed space. It is a crazy game. It's pretty awesome.
It's amazing.
You mentioned arcade games. Also, they had a Star Wars arcade game, and then they had a Return of the Jedi, and that was a real fun one. But I just remember being on the speeder bike on Endor, and it was fucking so hard
impossible
to navigate. Like you could go through the big open tree.
It was around those times where the games would have like that flash, and then you'd have to go left, or it kind of give you the signal. But you're on this thing that moved a little bit.
Yeah,
you were dead in 3 trees.
It was very difficult. Yeah, I mean, I remember going back to I had like Empire Strikes Back on Atari. Yeah. And it is so gross and old, but at the time I loved the shit out of it. Played the hell out of that. I really have liked the Battlefront games that EA Sports has done, or EA has done. The second one is pretty good. It's got a pretty good storyline to it. And then I haven't finished it yet. I've been playing that Jedi Fallen Order game. And that's
I want
really
to play
good.
that. Yeah, that looks amazing. And so does what's the new one? Is it Rogue
Squadrons?
God, that looks like I couldn't have a video game system anymore. Like I would come home, I'd turn it on. You'd never have a podcast for me again because I would live in these things. That and Spider-Man.
I struggle to find time for it, which I guess maybe is a good thing. Maybe that means I'm being productive. But we have my younger son, for his birthday, we got him the VR headset for the PlayStation. Oh yeah. So you play Squadrons with the VR headset on, and it's disorienting. It's fucking freaky to play that game, but it's fun. It's kind of it's a little repetitive, but it's good overall. But yeah,
visually it looks amazing.
It's really good visually, but yeah, I think the Jedi Fallen Order or Battlefront 2 would be my My 2 for sure.
I want to play Darth Vader Immortal.
Is that the one that's on Oculus?
Yes.
Okay, well, somebody in my family might be getting an Oculus soon, so that might come into play, and I'll let you know.
Awesome. All right.
Which of the many creatures from the Star Wars galaxy do you most want to throw in a barbecue and chow down on? I mean, it's obvious for me. Actually, I know who you guys are both going to pick. Can I tell you?
Yeah.
Crate Dragon.
Okay. Crate Dragon for Jay.
Yep.
Cole?
I was going to say Crate
did
Dragon
too,
too.
yeah.
No, you're going to eat the fucking blurg. Come on. Always the blurg for you. A lot of meat on those blurgs.
I wonder what they taste like.
I'm going porg because I was thinking about episode 8 when Chewie's cooking that thing on the spit on the fire. Yeah, those things look tasty, man. I think you get a little barbecue sauce. Porg is probably pretty good eating. So
it's a furry penguin. It just tastes like chicken.
That's right. 2 more questions from him. A lot of questions from Mike. Will Cole ever finish Rebels?
I finished season 3. I'm like 3 episodes into season 4.
We finish it this year.
I'm gonna be done with it probably at the end of this vacation. I'm on the last vacation. Okay. I'm on the last episode right now, or last season right now. So,
right.
Yep, I'm on it. Thank you for keeping track, Mike. Kiss my ass. I'm trying the best I can.
And his last question. One of the sequel trilogy's biggest criticisms was the lack of world building. Which planet do you want to see explored more in upcoming content? Tatooine. Just kidding.
Hoth.
I kind of like I'd like to see. It's Batuu, right? I'd like to see that on screen. Yeah. They made it the real life thing. It's in the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Like, it'd be kind of cool to see like a story from that on screen. So like when you go to the park, you're like, oh, I've been here before.
There's references to that Dark Spire Outpost stuff that I've seen somewhere in. I can't remember if it was in a video game. It might have been in a video game.
Okay, and I know it's in a couple of different books too. But that's
Anything for you, Cole?
I'd like to see Dantooine before it was blown up by the rebellion or by the Empire, the old rebel base. It's such a mysterious, like crazy, obscure reference. Dantooine, they're on Dantooine.
Yeah,
that's the name of it. Okay. That's all you get from it. So I kind of wonder what was there.
Is Alderaan? Do we only see it in that little bit where Leia gets the handoff to the Organas? Is that the only time we see Alderaan? I feel like it is. Yes. I wouldn't mind seeing a little more Alderaan because we talk about it so damn much. It'd be cool to see what it actually looked like more so.
I guess so.
Or the stuff you and I talked about with the Coruscant, that underworld.
The underworld.
I still think that'd be a fun.
Yeah, I do too.
If they did that. So, kind regards, Mike. Don't wish Mike luck because he doesn't need any luck. He's got so many entries. He's fine.
Mike, I hope you don't win the Dark Saber.
Last email. Hello, gentlemen. This is from Chris Meyer.
Hi.
While watching the latest Mando ep featuring well-known comedian Bill Barr as Mayfield, and that's Feld, not Field Boys. He knows us too well.
Yeah. Also not Baker.
Not Baker Mayfield. I started to think about all the other famous actors, Timothy Olyphant, Rosario Dawson, Michael Biehn, that have been used in the series, which leads me to ask the question, do you like it when shows use well-established faces in side roles, or does it take you out of the experience with the, oh my God, that's so-and-so reaction? Great question.
Very good question. I'll hit that one first. No, it doesn't take me personally. It doesn't take me out of the environment, or it doesn't take me out of the show. I like the Michael Biehn one from this season. Like, I had to like double take. Is that him?
Yeah, we talked about
like,
that. Yeah,
I didn't recognize that was him until he was into the scene for like 4 or 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. So they do it well enough, or these characters are old enough that you don't really even recognize them. Timothy Olyphant, you knew he was coming. You knew he was going to be Cobb Vanth. Mm-hmm. Like, I love the knowledge beforehand that they're going to be playing a certain role, and then because you can visualize it and build it up in your mind, and then it's always just a little bit different when it's on screen.
Yeah.
And you're like, is he going to be able to pull this off? Like, how is it going to work? Mm-hmm. Like, when I heard Timothy Olyphant, I'm like, this motherfucker is born to be walking down dusty streets with a blaster wrapped around his hip.
Like who else do you cast
in a Western, type of a movie? So like, I think it just gives me a lot of hype to the role, and it gives a lot of like foreshadowing and a lot of like build up, and then you see it realized on screen, and it's a great experience overall.
Like for me, it's always been part of the fun, right? Because like when we were kids, I grew up like Harrison Ford was in everything, and he was in Star Wars. When they started casting the prequels, Natalie Portman was a name, Ewan McGregor was a name, Liam Neeson was a name, even Hayden Christensen was on some ABC Family TV show, so I was kind of aware of him on that show. So, I mean, Jimmy Smits took a small little role, and Count Dooku, Terrence Stamp was that like they're always throwing actors into these roles, so that it's never really stopped me. Even when they cast Woody Harrelson, like my only issue was when they cast Woody Harrelson in Solo, only because I have a very particular, like, Woody Harrelson, and I'm like, yes. What version of Woody Harrelson are we going to get in this? But I thought he was great. Thandie Newton was awesome. Everyone that comes into these movies, it seems to be something. Even Sam Jackson, like, they don't phone it in. It isn't something like they were hired in for a paycheck. And to be fair, these movies are big enough to bring in big names, and they all seem to respect the material. I think even more so now.
Well, and I was thinking about The Mandalorian in particular, and thinking how these are names, these are big names, but they're not mega stars. Like, it might be a little more off-putting if we're watching Andor, and all of a sudden, like, Brad Pitt shows up as his best friend. You'd be like, "What the fuck?" But it's
and he's Brad Pitt.
And he's Brad Pitt, right? There's like Clooney shows up, like, "Hey, like, no, you can't do that." But
first rule of the Imperial Spy Network: you don't talk about the Imperial Spy Network.
What's in the box? So it had not taken me out of it. But one of the things I've always liked about Star Wars is the fact that, especially with the movies, they always look to find young, up and coming, talented actors that you don't already have in your mind in some other role. So that's how you know them, and that's your introduction to them, so that you associate them with that character. So I think they do a good blend of it, though, because you see a lot of that, but then you also see some of these cameos by bigger stars.
Yep. Like when they were casting for Anakin, before Hayden Christensen got it, like, they went after Leo, they went after Joshua Jackson from Dawson's Creek.
Wow.
There was like, what were the 6 big finalists?
I don't remember now.
Yeah, there was do you remember? Was it the Clone Wars? In Sync were in a scene, and the world like blew up about. I think the fucking Harry and whatever, the princes in England, like they
were stormtroopers.
Okay, but the In Sync, I think, were in robes, and they were cut out specifically because George Lucas was like, if I leave this in here, people are gonna go, like, they didn't want to see it. Nobody wanted to see it. Like, he was worried it would take them out of the movie because they were so big.
So they brought him back as the Knights of Ren later.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
That's right. Yeah. Yep.
Thank you, Chris, for your email. Appreciate it.
Chris, I hope you win the Dark Saber.
Speaking of the Dark Saber, this is the last week I will do this and tout
What are the rules?
The rules, I'm so glad you asked. If you do a retweet of one of our episode posts, you get an entry. If you retweet and promote it in some fashion, add your own 2 cents to it, you get 2 entries. Send us a Malls bag entry, and you get 2 entries for that. And then also, if you write a review, which we've gotten a lot of reviews the last few weeks, so keep those coming, you get 5 big fat entries. So keep doing that. There are certainly some people who have sent in a lot of stuff and who have a lot of entries and have a great chance of winning. But it only takes that one. So
it does.
Please do that. And we'll have, as we mentioned, I think last week, we'll have other giveaways in the future that we'll announce later. But next week on the show, we will have the Saber Maker Dave on to pick a number to give his beautiful creation to.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to having Dave on again.
Yeah.
He was on with our Podtoberfest episode, but it was so many people, and so he was quiet, but then he came in with like knowledge. And
yeah,
so
he's got a lot to say.
Yeah,
sure.
we'll need him on the show to correct us. He's 60-70% though. He upgrades the show, and we can't have that. We can't be reputable.
Showing us up.
Yeah.
I feel like in our DM he'll say something, and Jay, you and I are both like, wait a minute, like, what's he talking about?
If you guys want the other actors that were considered for Anakin Skywalker, it shows Joshua Jackson of Fringe fame, Ryan Phillippe.
Yep.
Heath Ledger, James Vanderbeek.
Yep.
Ledger.
Dawson.
Wow.
Paul
Ledger
Walker.
would have been fucking
Paul Walker,
great.
yeah. Yes.
Colin Hanks, Eric Von Detten, and Chris Klein, and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Chris Klein.
Chris Klein.
Yeah.
Interesting choice there. Ledger would have been outstanding.
Yeah, I don't think anybody knew what they had with Ledger, though. Like,
it could be.
Would he have gone total Darth Vader and lost his mind, and we would have like suicided himself then, or what?
He died earlier. I think that's all we got. Or did you have a factoid? I guess we already kind of covered it.
Yeah, the factoid was the scorched earth policy. Basically, was the Operation Cinder. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that's it. So until next week for the wrap up, the Mandalorian season finale,
and also never tell us the odds. Sorry, guys.
What would they say on Mandalore?
We have spoken.